Good evening. Welcome to a special matchday edition of the Game Line. Wales have lost to Ireland out in Dublin then. So where did it all go wrong? Matthew Southcombe and Andy Howell here to try and answer that question. And of course, we want to hear from you as always. Please do send us your comments, your questions. Tell us who impressed you, who didn't. And we'll whiz through some of them during the show. Chaps, plenty of fine margins, plenty of big decisions. But fair to say, Matt, that Ireland were deserved victors?
Yeah, I know we'll come on to discuss a lot, but I guess the crux of it is yes, there can't be many complaints from the Welsh camp. Ireland won pretty much every facet of the game. To be honest, yes, if there were some fine margins in there, and I suppose credit goes to Wales for making it that close, especially at half time. They were well beaten in the first half, and to be only trailing by, I think it was 5 points, it was a good result. But yeah, Ireland deserved winners across the board, and we're on top pretty much everywhere.
Why did Ireland have that control then, Andy?
Oh, because up front they were better. They had better line-out ball, cleaner ball. The scrum was more solid. They applied pressure at the breakdown as well, so they had a lot of go forward ball. Plus, I thought they exposed Wales's defence, the new sort of defence as well, because Wales had their wingers stationed deep, expecting kicks. So Ireland moved the ball across the three-quarter line, good handling, good angles of running. So they got on the outside edges of our centres, and that meant that our wingers were a bit exposed. And it's fortunate in the first half of Wales' scramble defence was very good. Otherwise, they could have really come unstuck. I mean, the biggest thing for me about Wales was their pride and passion, their determination. They hung in there, which you would expect with a new coach in charge, because at one stage it looked like that they could get well beaten. But at the end of it, Ireland racked up a bonus point, which could be crucial when it comes to deciding who wins the title. Wales need to go back to the drawing board a bit. I thought there was perhaps some selection issues there. I still think Tilupi Faletau looked rusty at the start. I think they should have started with Ross Moriarty. Yes, Faletau did rack up tackles, but so did other players, because Wales were on the back foot for most of the match. And Nick Tompkins found international rugby is a lot more difficult than facing Italy.
Yeah, indeed. We'll talk about some individuals in a minute. Just on that defence then, Matt, what was actually happening? Because it was strange. It was very different from what we're used to. Very narrow, lots of big gaps out wide, which they seem to be inviting.
Yeah, well, like Wayne Pivac touched on in the press conference afterwards, where they showed Ireland the edges. And they did it against Italy as well. So they play with a high 13, so the 13 flies up. And if the winger doesn't follow, then suddenly Wales are in trouble because there's gaps everywhere. So what you saw today, a few times, George North and Johnny McNichol both got exposed on their wings, and Ireland got joy down both sides of the field. The wingers were going up, leaving the last man free, because the defensive system that they're trying to employ tries to stop the ball getting out that far. They're giving Ireland the outside, but they're trying to stop them getting there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we saw a lot of the times that the Welsh wingers were tackling the outside centres, which means you've got Conway and Stockdale in like 10 metres of space. So I think there's an issue both with what they were trying to do and the fact that they weren't able to impose themselves in defence. If you're going to play with a high 13, great, but you've got to put your shots in. And Wales, because Ireland, as Andy said, were on top up front, they had all the momentum. And then when you're trying to implement what you're trying to do in defence, it's really hard when you're on the back foot. So, it's very much risk-reward defence, and today they got it wrong.
It's a lot easier for Ireland to do what they did today because they had that front foot ball, so they had time and space in which to operate. If they'd been on the back foot like Wales were, they would have struggled to get the ball wide. Of course, when Jonathan Davies is fit and playing, he's a master rushing up and cutting off that outlet, if you like. I don't think the Welsh defence is so aggressive though today. There's then this defensive system employed by Sean Edwards, which mirrors his personality, aggressive and in your defence, in your face. I thought Ireland worked it really well though, because they attacked from deep. It's a bit easier to do what they were doing actually.
Yeah. Okay. So some big moments. So we all I think agree that Ireland were the best team. The Hadley Park's try that never was millimetres, wasn't it? But I think even Wayne Pivac has admitted that it wasn't a try, so that's fair enough. But two of the Irish tries, you had slight issues with. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the first one was the Furlong try. The scrum that led to it, I felt Furlong took down. They were playing advantage for a penalty against Wales from that scrum, but I actually thought, if you watch it back, I thought Furlong took that scrum down. 30 seconds later, he's trundling over to score. That came from a Welsh mistake, however. Thomas Williams dropping the ball, I think, that gave them that chance. But watching that back, I felt like Wales were hard done by at that scrum. Nonetheless, there were 3 phases that Wales couldn't stop Ireland, and it was a very powerful finish from Furlong and a few of his mates pushing him over. So, nothing with the finish. I just felt Wales probably a bit hard done by at that scrum.
That was textbook play, though, wasn't it, by Ireland? First of all, Wales committed a cardinal sin. They're in the game, got some points, and then Thomas Williams, unforced error, drops the ball. Give Ireland perfect position. Robbie Henshaw, I thought, was outstanding for Ireland. Him, his centre partner, Bundy Aki, both strong men. They knew exactly what they were going to do. They took a ball from the scrum. The referee had actually penalised Wales at that scrum, so it was playing advantage. So, but he was on the wrong side of the scrum from that, so I assume he was getting help from his assistant. So it was obvious what they were going to do. Aki took it up, carried it to neither line, tied in the Wales midfield. Quick ball, Furlong over. It was just, you knew what was coming, and they managed to score. But earlier in the game, Wales had dealt quite well with Ireland's attack. Near the try line, their line-out mauls, etc. Because Wales were under the cosh for most of that match.
Yeah, and some confusion with the Van der Flyer try, wasn't there, with Roman Poit seemingly, saying, I have no idea what happened initially, and then giving his on-field decision as a try, went to the TMO. You couldn't see a thing under those bodies, could you? And thus the try stood.
It reminded me a bit of, do we have a deal? The All Blacks and the Lions, 2017,
It did, yeah. I mean, like you said, Poit very quickly said, I have no clue. I think he had a bit of assistance from his touch judge, and quite quickly after that they came to the decision that it was an on-field try. It was one of those where, do we think it's probably a try? Yes, but does that mean you should give a try? No. It's not. We can't deal in what we can't see.
Yeah, so, but Luke Pierce, his assistant, said it was a try.
Yeah,
and he told Pratt. That's why Pratt changed his mind or whatever, because Pierce said to him that on field that's a try.
Yeah, and once he said
so
that,
he went with him.
Once he said that, it was very difficult to turn that try over because you simply can't see what's going on underneath.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, let's have a few comments then. There's plenty of them coming through. Lots of short and sharp ones. Craig Whitcomb says the defence was way too narrow, something we touched on there. Scott Davis, just too many mistakes, he says, which is completely fair enough. On to individuals, there's quite a few. This will annoy you, Matt, I know probably, but Andrew Little here says, why do we consistently pick George North, who lasted anything in a game 3 seasons ago? I think that's a little harsh, Andrew, but there we go. Lee says, where was North? McNichol might miss tackles, but he makes things happen and gets involved. Another one here from Mark saying North has been overrated for 5 years. I know our colleague Mark Orders didn't give him a very high mark in his ratings. He didn't touch the ball that many times in the match. Is that his fault?
No, can I step in here now, because I've been critical of George North, and I don't think he has done much really since, or consistently done much since 2014. But North, he wasn't at fault today. Nobody in their right mind can blame North for that defeat today, because Wales's problems started up front. North was okay, he was a passenger for much of the match, but that's what happens when you haven't got enough ball, or when you've got it, you can't control the ball, you can't go through, you haven't gone through phases, you haven't had the patience, so his chances were going to be limited. So you can't blame him. And what I said earlier about the defence, where Wales had their wingers positioned, that they got exposed because of good play from England. So I think Ireland. Sorry. What saddens me a bit now is with some of the public now. We've seen this growing momentum the last few months during the World Cup and all that. That people are trying to turn George North into another Alex Cuthbert, who was their who's been a previous target as a scapegoat for any defeat.
Well, potentially. I mean, like we said before, though, it's the expectation of it's because George North has been an utterly world-class player, and if he's not at those standards, which he hasn't consistently been, then he is going to be the focus of attention, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, like Andy's touched on there, today doesn't feel like the day to be singling out individuals. Was North at his best? No, and he won't need to be told that, But in terms of errors, it wasn't as if he was making errors across the field all the time. Do you know what I mean? So I don't feel like today is a day to be picking out anyone, and I kind of feel like what Andy's saying, that if Wales lose now and North hasn't scored 3 tries, it's going to be his fault. Nobody really in that back 3 was outstanding today. Like Andy said, it's purely because the ball didn't get there.
Yeah.
You know, most matches are still won up front, and that's what happened today.
Yeah, indeed. A couple of people mentioned Nick Tompkins, who I thought grew into the game, actually improved as it went on.
Yeah,
but it was a difficult first half for him, wasn't it? Because of, I think Robbie Henshaw was outstanding.
Yeah, of course, Wales actually benefited from Henshaw departing early in the second half and failing HIA, because that every time he got the ball, he was making ground. I mean, he's a world-class player, Henshaw. You know, he's a lion, he's a top player. Yeah. So he gave Wales all sorts of problems, and early on, Tompkins went to tackle him and he just bounced off him. Yeah. And it hurt him a bit as well. And so Tompkins had major problems dealing with him. During the match, Tompkins missed 5 out of 16 tackle attempts, and of course he got it wrong for Ireland's first try, John Lamore. Tompkins, you could see, was trying to cover the space out wide, so he stepped out just one step too far. Lamore's got great footwork and he's a powerful guy. Stepped inside in, shrugged him off, went through a softest effort from Thomas Williams to score. I think Tompkins did improve during the game, and he's found out Test rugby is tough, but it's probably going to be a good learning experience from him.
Yeah, we talked a lot before the game about the scrum and the problems Wales had. Generally, it was okay, apart from that key one, sort of after 60 odd minutes or so.
But it went downhill for men. The scrum, that was a key moment of the game. It was two key moments where Wales had a ball. Parks dropping the ball over the try line, and then that scrum, Wales were in a prime attacking position in the Irish 22, where the scrum was on the pitch. They could attack either side of it. Of course, they didn't get that chance because they got penalised at the scrum. Huge moment, and that was the end of the Welsh challenge with that scrum.
On that scrum, I personally think they should have pulled off Dylan Lewis in the middle of it. So they had 2 resets, and on both resets, he took the scrum down. And the only reason he didn't get pinged is because Poit was on the other side of the scrum. Now, I would have liked to have seen Pivac there and then say, get Leon Brown on now. I'm not saying Leon Brown's the greatest scrummager in the world, but he's fresh. And like I said, Dylan Lewis, I don't know whether he was tired or what, but he was up against a fresh Luced, who'd just come on the field.
Who is a top scrummager,
Who is a great scrummager. And he'd already taken 2 down. I would have liked to have seen Pivac act a bit faster on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's up to his scrum coach, surely, as well, Jonathan Humphries, to advise him.
Yeah. A couple more comments. One from David saying that CJ Sander was constantly off his feet. He says, I know he did get yellow carded in the 79th minute, I think it was, but it was all a bit late then. Quite a few people have been saying that on social media. Hard luck, says Linda. Shirley says Johnny Sexton was refereeing that game. Why has Alan Wynne-Jones gone so quiet? Bit harsh, I'm sure.
I think with that, there's nuances to it, isn't there? Johnny Sexton gets criticised a lot for the way he deals with referees. He probably pushed it as far as he could today. I'm surprised that Poit didn't get a little bit stronger with him, although I did notice he sent him back. I think it was after Thomas Williams' try, told him to keep it shut. But I think Alan Wynne-Jones has just got a different way of dealing with referees. He's never really been the most vocal when it comes to refs. Picks and chooses his moments to speak to the refs, and I think sometimes he just relies on the fact that he is Alan Wynne-Jones, and that carries a lot of sway because he's so well respected in the game. So when he does speak, then referees tend to listen. So I think it's just 2 different approaches.
Generally, I thought Wales did quite well at the ref in the first half.
Yeah.
In particular, I thought there was a few decisions which could have gone the other way. Of course, it depends who you support, doesn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
Whether you have a gripe with the ref or not.
Yeah, I was going to mention Josh Adams, who obviously was a big loss. Just an update on the injury situation is pretty vague, actually, from Wayne Pivac after the game. I think Josh Adams had a hip problem. He's going to be assessed on Monday, and Dan Bigger failed the HIA, so he'll go through the protocols. They haven't got a game next weekend either, but they were both big misses, weren't they, when they went off?
Yeah, well, with Adams, he made 70 metres, 3 runs. Wales hardly had the ball, but when he had the ball, he touched it 3 times and he made ground every time, and he looked dangerous.
You feel they might have scored if he was on the field in that patch?
Potentially, he is lethal, isn't he? But at the moment, he's the best winger in the world when it comes to scoring tries. So, you miss people like that, but it was clear he had a problem with his hip. And then he corner flagged just after it, and they had to bring him off then. I was risk for the damage. If you kept him on, he might have done more harm and missed the rest of the championship. But they need him for France. Yeah,
okay. There'll be plenty of time to talk about possible changes to the team for the France game over the next couple of weeks. Let's finish. Can you pluck out a positive to finish on? Hard to do after a defeat, I know.
Well, the old-timers, isn't it? Justin Tipurich, Alan Wynne-Jones, they led the resistance. 19 tackles each. Credible. Tipurich still going to the end. Got a try. There's certainly nothing wrong with the spirit of Wales, up against a good team as well in Ireland, who were champions in 20. Rebuilding with some nice players coming in. results over the next couple of weeks. Wales beat France. England beat Ireland. Championship's all back on, isn't it? But France is a pivotal game. Wales got to win it to stay in the hunt for the title.
Yeah. Just quickly from me, I thought Parks probably had one of his better games for Wales that we've seen in recent times.
Yeah.
Particularly going forward, made a lot of yards every time he carried. So I thought he was probably one of the better performers today.
Yeah. Okay. All right, thanks, chaps. We'll leave it there for today. Thanks for joining us. As always, thanks for all your comments and questions. Plenty of reaction over on Wales Online right now, and we will be back again on Monday. See you then.